I bid you welcome.
I welcome you to my house.
Welcome to my house.
Welcome to my home.
Hello Horror Hounds, welcome to my horror house. The film under consideration this week is Bloody Birthday from 1981, a film which coincidentally starts with a total solar eclipse, just as last week's film Occhiali Neri did. The premise for Bloody Birthday is extremely simple. During the height of this solar eclipse, 3 children are born, 2 boys and a girl. And then 10 years later, for reasons, they are all completely conscience-free psychopathic killers. They all just decide around their 10th birthday, wouldn't it be fun to start killing a load of people? And that's kind of it. Straight after our 10-year jump, we get straight into the first bit of gratuitous nudity of the film. A couple of teenage kids making out in true Friday the 13th fashion, this time in a graveyard, and the girl is a little bit self-conscious and doesn't like the idea that someone might see them. So her beau comes up with the genius idea of doing it in a freshly dug empty grave. So they quickly hop down there whilst someone is watching from the bushes. So far, so very Friday the 13th. And the peeping Tom section goes on for an inordinately long period of time until there is a Friday the 13th style killing. Then we're introduced to these 3 children and also their classmate Timmy, and it's Timmy and his elder sister Joyce, who are kind of the heroes of the movie. And as we're introduced to Joyce, the Friday the 13th vibes give way to really strong Halloween vibes. She's sort of bookish and slightly virginal. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about when you see shots of her walking down the street with her friends, clutching her books to her chest, and her friend is a little bit more loose, a little bit more maybe sexually mature, and you're thinking, good gracious, this is truly now ripping off Halloween. And the idea of the angelic killer kids really does give the film the feeling that someone watched the opening section of John Carpenter's Halloween, where young, angelic-looking Michael kills his older sister and goes, what would happen if we made an entire film out of that? And that's not a bad premise. The execution is left a little wanting, but that doesn't mean there isn't enormous amounts of fun to be had with Bloody Birthday. The film wears its influences on its sleeve. The kill scenes, which are clearly aiming for something in the vein of Friday the 13th. The score even apes the scores of the Friday the 13th movie kill scenes with the stabbing strings and the brass section. It is just unfortunate that the kills aren't really as over the top in Bloody Birthday as they are in the Friday the 13th movies. I think that was the director's intention, but cold feet prevailed, I think, and the scissors got taken to the movie. And I think that's a real shame. If this film, with the setup it had some real top class sort of Tom Savini level kills going for it, a lot more people would be talking about it, whereas it feels kind of forgotten. I don't really hear a lot about Bloody Birthday. That's not to say there aren't a couple of kills, 2 or 3 that aren't really effective, because there are, especially one with a bow and arrow. There's one with a couple actually with a handgun that are really quite effective. But I feel the film needed to go all out. Even if the kills aren't wall-to-wall gore or big set pieces, you will gasp at the sheer audacity of these kids, out in broad daylight, just knocking off family members, friends, teachers. And I found myself, my jaw open, going, just thinking, how on earth are they going to get away with this? They are rampant. They are bloodthirsty, evil little shits. And you will kind of laugh along at the chutzpah they've got on show. I mean, they don't give a flying fuck. They just want to kill. And it's kind of hilarious. And then at other times, kind of creepy. They get their hands on a gun, and one of the kids, there's a section in the film where he sneaks out at night, and he just goes roaming around the town looking for someone to shoot. He just wants to shoot someone. It doesn't matter who it is. And that's really quite creepy and nasty. Other times, they've got this sort of murder book where they agree on who the next person to die is, the next person who deserves it. And as I say, other times, absolutely random. Curtis is the kid with the gun, and he's sort of the head killer. He really is a mini psycho in training. I love that kid's performance. And the girl who plays Debbie, slightly different kind of character. She's well up for it. She's totally involved. But anytime she gets a sniff that they're going to get found out, she suddenly turns into absolute butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. You know, look at this angelic face. She'll quite happily dob in anyone, even her co-conspirators, to try and get out of jail and get off the hook. Oh no, they're doing something terrible. Oh, I tried to stop them. Fucking hell, you little creep. The film is absolutely chock full of gratuitous nudity. There are 3 pairs of boobs on display, an awful lot of them being sort of perved on by these 10-year-old characters, which sort of leaves me as a viewer feeling a little bit icky. Having it so stark here, so I'm going to say artless, as if the nudity in the Friday the 13th movies are artful. They're absolutely not, but at least those films have the pretense of pitching it to a certain demographic, whereas we all kind of really know that it's maybe around 11, 12, 13 that you start to watch these films to see, and you get to your first sight of a pair of boobs, and then to see the kids that age in it, you kind of realise how sleazy the whole thing really is. The plot is absolutely threadbare. There's no tension in any of the film at all, even once we get to the end where Joyce and Timmy are in the house with the 3 killers. There's very little logic. There's a lot of flip-flopping around of there's something definitely wrong with these kids, but oh yeah, I'll go and babysit them when they ask me to. That just stretches credulity a little bit too much, and it's the lack of attention to the details of plot and characterization which make this a little bit frustrating. I would have been able to overlook that if they'd have had some grand deaths. As it is, this is definitely one to watch with friends, with beers, laughing along at just how batshit, just how evil these kids are, and cutting a swathe through. I mean, they don't care. They just want to get the job done. And for that, I kind of like it. It's not well made, but it's a hell of a lot of fun. Out in broad daylight, just knocking off family members, friends, teachers.